We know that you were born magical. We know that you are intuitive, and we know that you are brimming with everyday enchantment. Here at the Sisters Enchanted, we believe in intention, we believe in intuition, and we believe in everyday magic. Welcome in to the Expedition to Soul podcast. Welcome to this episode of the Expedition to Soul podcast. I'm Sarah, founder of the Sisters Enchanted. And I'm joined today by one of our community members who's very active in all the places, Morgan. Okay, Morgan Ray, right? That's
yeah.
Okay, so every time, I'm going to tell you a secret. Every time I see your name, I think Morgan Le Fay. And then I do this thing in my head where I'm like, Morgan Ray, Morgan Le Fay. It happens in my brain every time I see you. So now that you know that, you can say hello and introduce yourself.
I love that because I like Morgan Le Fay since when I was younger, there was no women named Morgan Le Fay. So I would always, you know, search out all the women named Morgan.
Yeah. No, I do this song and dance in my mind every time I see you. So
I love it. Well, I'm Morgan. So, and I've actually always been magical, but not just the little things when I was younger, because I came from a very religious Mormon family. So anything magical was not allowed, even though I did it anyway with candle magic. And because my great grandmother and my great aunts on my mom's side did tea leaf reading, and my grandma on my dad's side did cartomancy. So there was always that going on too, but just never allowed in our home. So
it's wild.
Yeah. So we come from a long line of really magical, strong women, including my 11th and 12th grandmothers were actually arrested for witchcraft in Salem during the Salem witch trials.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. And I know it probably wasn't anything magical, but that's just, we have very strong, very successful women in our family. So we're always the leaders of our family, and I'm sure that's why they just were too outspoken, because that's another thing in our family.
That's a good way to be, if you ask me.
Yes. But right now though, I mostly do, since I travel for a living, we're always traveling, I do magical traveling. So I try to incorporate magic in all the places we go, all the things we see. For example, a couple months ago, we did the Gold Rush Trail, where we went to every single gold mine. I think there was 14 of them. And we actually purchased all the different gemstones that they mined there so that we could bring the energy of that back with us to the truck. Or
That's so
the
cool.
silver. Yeah, it's fun to see. I'll get herbs in different places and candles in different places, and doing rituals even in different places. We went to the Silver Trail. I don't know if the silver, where all the silver was, obviously when the gold came about, it wiped out the silver. But we did the Silver Trail, all the ghost towns. But my favorite one was the Virginia City, Nevada. I don't know if you ever go there, you have to go there. It's the best place ever. I love it. And underneath the town are billions of dollars in silver that they can't get to. They've tried, people have gone bankrupt trying to get that silver. So I did a ritual there of letting things go that you absolutely can't get, to find peace with yourself, using that energy of that I'll never be able to get this, so I need to find peace with it, and journaling. So I try and do that everywhere I go. I actually have so many Book of Shadows on all the places we go to, what I found there, what I magically did there. And everyone keeps saying I need to make a book out of it, but it's been personal so far.
Yeah. Okay. So you travel around the country for a living. And then in doing that, you also make that an opportunity to just experience the energy of all of the different places that you go to.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes. Bring it back with you to your truck, which is your home on wheels.
Yes.
And then you have that, and you can reflect on it, use it. I know you shared in one of our classes. You're in all the things, so I don't remember which one, but you shared that you, what did you do? Were you buried and left something behind?
Yes, our pumpkins at Halloween at midnight on Halloween, because we do our pumpkin and we put a spell in there. However, you do your spell. And then on midnight on Halloween, after you sit with it through the entire Halloween season, you bury it. And then, I put little drops of incense over it and some flowers. And so that we've got pumpkins buried all over the United States.
It's a very cool thing. And then for the rest of us, it's also does Morgan have a pumpkin around here I don't know about? Has
It's
Morgan been
fun.
here? One of her
Yeah.
pumpkins?
Our funnest time doing that though, well, not really for him, is we were on the like lowest, like right on the Mexican border, and it said 300 miles, nothing. So we parked on the side of the road and buried a pumpkin. And he's like, you need to do this quick, because if a cop comes up 300 miles to nowhere, we're burying a body, you know?
Yeah, yeah. For sure, for sure. So you travel with your family too.
Well, yeah, just my boyfriend, we haven't gotten married, but we've been together for 15 years. So we've been traveling for 15 years together. So he experiences everything with me. And then my
Is,
cat.
and your cat. Is he ever like, what on earth are you doing? And why are you doing it?
No, so he's not as magical as me, but he does reading the bones. He casts the bones and reads the bones. He's really good at that. And he gets bones. So he gets bones and like things or reptile feet from everywhere we go to. So he constantly picks up things for that. So
That's so fun. I love that it
yes.
comes from everywhere. So there's different stories and then kind of building your own collection. So through like your very regular job, like your job and your life, you've been able to bring all of this magic experience into it.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
cool.
And send it to people. So like when they had that eclipse that wiped out the sun,
Yeah.
we were able to go to the spot where it would be the darkest. And I made little pouches for all my family members using all the elements there and like the rocks and herbs and then the energy. And then we did a little candle ritual and sent it to everybody the next day.
Oh, that's so fun. We didn't see it very well where I live. I tried. I was outside trying all these tricks and I was like, wow, it's just getting kind of a little hazy, gray looking. Guess we'll just go back inside.
Yeah.
It wasn't working for us here. Okay. So you mentioned that you were always into all of these magic things, but that in your growing up, it wasn't like something that you could really, talk about or wasn't approved of. What about other people in your life? Do you ever get any, because your life is very different. Like you travel around all the time and you do all the magic things. So is there anybody in your life who you've kind of had to just say, you know what? I think we should just not discuss this further because we, just don't see eye to eye? Or has it mostly been like people are really supportive? What does that look like for you?
Well, because like my great grandmas, my grandmothers, and my great aunts have all been in the herbology or like the tea leaf reading and then cartomancy. So on my dad's side, everybody's Mormon, the whole lineup. They're Mormon since like the beginning of time. So when my grandma, my great grandma, and my grandma did cartomancy, the men were like, oh, it's just this little side hobby they do like at the circus, and she can have her little things because it's not magic. It's just this fortune telling nonsense, that, so they kind of just, because it took me, when I heard she was doing like, she just did card tricks with cards, it took me a long time to realize it was cartomancy. I had to like dig deep to find out that's exactly through her journals. That's what she was doing, because they completely wrote her off. Now my dad was worse because he like they would put up with it, but he wouldn't. Like my great aunt sent me a tea leaf, teacup, and he smashed it as soon as it came in. Like there was going to be no talk of anything magical. You're Mormon, and that's the end of it.
Goodness, yeah.
So it was so hard. Like, but I still did it. I like fought through. I was the rebellious one that had the worst treatment because I was going to stick with it.
So how is that? Like, do you have a strong relationship with that side of your family today? Or is it just kind of like,
so, yeah, I'm trying to think. No.
I just ask because so many people will listen to this who might find themselves like, oh, well, we go to church every Sunday and my husband thinks that I shouldn't have tarot cards. And this happens actually frequently where somebody will buy a tarot deck and then they typically it's a husband. I'm just saying that's what it typically is, who like finds it in the underwear drawer or something and then is like, no, not in this house. I'm not paying for that. I don't, it's not happening. So, that is typically what we see. So that's why I'm asking this question. It's just like, what do you do? Because so many people are like, do I got to pick? Do I just speak my truth and then hope they come with me? Like, what does?
Well, I've never I'm happiest when I actually, because there was a time like I've always struggled with like, am I a witch? But like, no, because I'm just doing all the magical stuff. So it's really later in my life that I truly just embraced it. But because I always did the magical stuff, but I was like, but I'm a magical person, not a witch, because of the people in my life. But I'm just myself, like within the past like 10 years, I'm like, whatever, this is what I'm going to do. And they just pretend that they just block out that part of myself. So we still,
Yeah.
like, I still send everyone postcards, and some of my aunts and I, we write back each other on the road, and I still involve people in my life, but they just pretend that's not a part of who I am. And we just leave it at that, you know?
Yeah. I
It's
get
like,
that. I have family members, like my face is all over the internet talking about magic things. And I have family
yeah.
members that like, I see them, once in a blue moon, and they will like look at my husband and be like, so how's things at work? And then I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
that's fine.
Wow.
Don't, it's okay.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
pretend it's not happening. Yes, I get that. That is, I think though, that we don't have to pick those fights. It's not, I think, people, we're all different for a reason. It might not be easy to see that reason, but we are.
Well,
And that's just
yeah.
that.
And because I could go the opposite way too, because I had such a horrible upbringing with Mormonism. I could decide I don't like them and their Mormonism, so I'm going to cut
Right.
them out. But I accept them, and like I said, we just don't talk about it because I don't want to hear about it. And
Yeah. Yeah. I think that when you think about like just finding peace, it's just like, what's going to bring you the most? And for some people that might be burning the bridge entirely. And for others, it's just like, the bridge can stay. You just live on your side and I'm going to live on my side. And that's just that.
It's true, because I had one of my cousins on that side call me. She's like, you should do a tarot reading for me. And I said, well, I'm doing this tarot coaching, so can I do that? And then at the end, she's like, just don't tell my mom.
Yes, just don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone at all. So speaking of tarot coaching and all these things, you're in all of our classes, I think.
Yeah.
All the big ones. So you've always been interested in all the magical things, like you said, and it's in your family. So it's not like you didn't already know. What have you found, like through the Sisters Enchanted or through what you've learned here, that you've brought into your everyday, or that has just, how are you using it? What's it brought to you, I guess is the question.
Oh yeah. Well, one, because I actually always wanted to be a part of something like that, like, or do a class just to really learn. But yours was the first one that I found that it was actually worth it. Where, no, seriously, like some of them out there, they're like, it's only 6 months and you can only talk to me during our one live call a month, or, or they just didn't seem like they were comfortable with themselves. So, so that's why I joined you guys and just kind of dig deeper with it. But the one thing I found that it's just kind of opened my eyes to different things, like for instance, ancestral wounds and past lives, healing past lives and ancestral wounds, because I feel like we have that a lot in our family, because like I said, we come from a very long line of strong women. All the women in our family are educated. They're the breadwinners, they're the go-getters, but yet we choose these men that are narcissistic and try everything they can to bring us down. And like, I watched some of the treatment of my aunts who, like, one of my aunts started a pharmaceutical company and sold it for billions. Like, she's smart, but yet she's letting this man drag her down, belittle her in front of her children. And it's just a pattern that's gone on in our life for far too long. Even watching my sister with that, like, he's just, and so that's why I'm kind of doing the birth chart things now, because it'd be interesting to see how that's like why we keep allowing these things to happen with all of our family. My mom is a medium and she's really good with that, and she's good at clearing houses, but yet she married like the most narcissistic Mormon she could find that made sure she never did magic, until they divorced. So I really like that about your classes, and how to bring that into my life, is healing the ancestral wounds, healing the past lives, and really living your true purpose in life through like tarot, and then the birth charts, and even shadow work.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Anna, the other day. Oh, so I'm remembering now. You were with in the Astro Jam, and I was in another room and I was listening. And then after that, I had pulled up my birth chart, listening to the conversation, and I pulled all these like extra asteroids and stuff that I had never really looked at before. And it just goes to show how you keep learning, because Anna's looked at my birth chart, however, a million times. She usually often uses it as a teaching example too. Just because she knows it like the back of her hand, and I think it's a little easier sometimes just to talk about somebody else than it is to point out your own stuff. But she, we pulled up with all these asteroids, and she was like, Sarah, and there's all this stuff that happened as a teenager with me. She was like, that story is right there. And then like your early adulthood, and it's all right there. And I was just, and even I could see, and I was so blown away. And it was a good reminder, not just seeing it, but like the processing of it and really asking, how is this? Now I'm getting into astrology talk, but it also has to do with my South Node, and like being pretty stuck, and like my North Node feels so far off to me most of the time. And it really helped me see, like, I still have so much. That's why it feels so far off, because I'm still like I got one foot stuck in the mud here in this whole lineup. And I can see it where there's, still so much to be done. And all that healing work never ends.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. Oh yes. But that's why I love your classes, is it shows you all these things. You work through it, there's so many different tools to work through it,
Yeah, we have no end of tools. I'm like the shadow work crazy person. I just like do more shadow work.
Yeah.
I appreciate what you said too about the classes and that idea of like being worth it, because it was something we actually get a lot of, I wouldn't say, criticism about when it comes to like actually running a business, and what we can provide, like as we get more and more students and programs, and we don't charge to take the class again. We don't like limit help and support in the group, however many people come to the lives. But with that, expenses go up because you need more people to be able to answer the questions. We need to be able to have like more people in a Zoom room, like things just. And so when it comes to that business side, some folks have said, well, is that sustainable? And my thing is like developing community members like yourself, Morgan, and like people who know it and they're living it and they understand it and they care about it. And then hopefully, they're able to go on and incorporate in their life however they can, but keeping that community strong, because then we also have a community of people to help support each other. And it becomes a non-issue that we need, that we have to limit access or something, because we hope to just really empower people to go all in and have all these resources and like really feel at home at the Sisters Enchanted. And then we can all help each other, and not just be one-sided from us, like trying to say, you've got to do this in 4 months and then go away. It's not what we want.
Well, yeah. And you guys do go above and beyond. Actually, I was just telling him, like, I think they don't charge enough, because I've taken like the Master Lenormand class and like a soul alignment one, and they charge way more than you guys, but their websites aren't as great. And they're like, well, we're only so many people, so you can only ask us a question once a month. So if you're really lost, like you're really on your own, and you don't feel like that with the Sisters Enchanted, you definitely feel like you're supported. You guys, I think, go over and beyond anything that anyone else does, like with the lives where you have like the spells and you lead us through things. So you definitely feel like you're making progress,
I'm really passionate about reaching as many people as we can. So we try to keep tuition reasonable as we can. And our astrology class, now I'm just tooting our own horn, the most comparable class that we can find with similar levels of support, actually still less, but the amount of content is more than double what ours costs to register for. Yeah. And you have to, if you don't finish the class or need more support, you have to pay a reduced fee to like re-enroll in the live part every time after. And and that's where we get criticism, because people will say like, it was what you're doing the right way to say. I'm like, yes, we're going to make it work. And the way we're going to make it work is by doing really awesome, so that our students do really awesome. And then we all work together.
Yes.
That's how we're going to make this work. Okay. So you told us a little bit about what magic looks like on the road. Are there some things you do in your everyday life, just your routine kind of magic daily life things that you'd like to share, or that you can share to inspire somebody else?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. So obviously, because we drive, I always set up in the morning, because before I get ready, like a little either crystal grid. I know I shared some in the class, or like a little candle spell just to kind of do a truck protection while I get ready and wash my face. or, you know, and just kind of get ready for the day. So I always do that, which is one of the things. And I always pull cards daily. But most of the time, it's just things I don't even think about, like saying a little, you know, spell in my head as we're driving, or just seeing something where there's like herbs or there's a shop and I stop and grab it, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just little things that I do that I don't even think about because it's been so ingrained to do it, you know?
Yeah, I can relate to that. We don't drive like you do, but we have a big fifth wheel RV, and the RV is 44 feet. So like we're pretty big with our truck and that going down the road. And and when we drive, if I'll see like all the weed type herbs on the side of the road, and I just, without even thinking about it, I'm just like, thank you for supporting us on this safe journey. Thank you for supporting us on our safe journey. Just like give them a little nod out the window.
Yes.
It just really does
Like
become
that.
part of what you do, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We even keep bird seed so that like I'll write something in bird seed before we leave so the birds then have it and spread it, like just some kind of, you know, intention or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a sweet idea.
Yeah.
I love that.
So spell something out with the bird seed every day.
Yeah.
It's just these little things that I
Yeah.
do, you know?
Yeah, that's a cool idea with like, I feel like with mythological stories, if you're into mythology and like any birds, you know, birds that might watch out or communicate and tell stories and things. That's a cool one. There's even some like really good fairy tales that have birds that are like running the show. And anyway, I like that idea.
Yeah. So I do a lot of that, and just depends what happens during the day. If I see something, or like with snow, or, you know, it really just depends where we are. And then it just comes naturally to what I do, especially if we're by the water, like lots of sea magic, because that's my favorite.
Yes. Yes. I think, well, yeah, standing next to an ocean and just the waves, and like where I live, you can like taste the salt in the air, like you can feel it. Yeah, and I love it. I go to other oceans or other like saltwater bodies, and that might be way prettier than ours is. Ours is not like clear, and this is not like a resort level ocean. But you can feel the salt in the air and taste it as soon as you get out of the car. So I go other places and it's beautiful, but there's something about like just that salt embodying you, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
you just feel the energy of the place change. It's pretty cool.
See, yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that too. Because I was trying to think of what else to do, but we also like research all the areas we're going to so that we can do like something in that area, that I can do it, especially like when you go to the more interesting places with all the fun stuff, you know, or battlefields, and, you know, they have like some crazy museums out there that you can dig into the, you know, energy.
I know. I want to get out and travel, like take our camper and hit the road so bad, but it's like a silly excuse, but it's not really an excuse. I have 2 cats who are 14, and I know you said you have your cat with you. Well, like, you know, we couldn't leave them in the camper when we're driving because it's not you know, so we'd have to bring them in the truck, and they're 14 now, and one of them's very particular about using the bathroom. And so I'm like, okay, I can't take them on the road, and I just don't know what to do because I'm staying home because of my 14-year-old cats. That's commitment, and also kind of like holding my life up.
You know,
gotta be a solution.
Yeah, well, no, but I get that because we don't travel abroad or anything that has to go with plane, because someone would have to watch him.
Yeah.
He doesn't want anyone to watch him. We're just going to be on hold international travel until Luigi dies.
Yeah,
you know?
That's how I feel about my cats. So, like, we're just home, and, you know, they just had a vet checkup and they're like doing okay. So it could be another 5-6 years. What are we going to do?
Yeah, I get that.
All right.
We're in the same boat.
Yes, I get it. We're going to do a little game of this or that. So I'm going to ask you 2 things. You're going to tell us your preference, and then we'll know into your inner soul after this.
Okay.
All right. The first one is food related. Do you prefer tacos or pizza?
Pizza.
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 So do I. I love tacos too. So I don't know. Tarot or oracle cards?
Tarot.
Are you a night person or a morning person?
Night.
Night person. All right, we just kind of talked about this. Would you prefer being like in the woods, in a forest, or by a big body of water?
Yeah, big body of water
Big
always.
body of water. Do you like coffee or tea?
Tea.
Do you prefer like pretty tumbled crystals or just stones you find on the ground or by water or something?
I do like the stones, the raw stones where, yeah, I love them.
Yeah, me too.
So pretty.
All right. Our last one. Do you prefer, I'm trying to guess the answer, but do you prefer incense or like essential oils or essences or something with a smell that's not incense?
Yeah, I know. See, that's a hard one because I like being traveling, we can't really use
Yeah.
the essential oils. So we've always just used incense, always incense. So, but I do have essential oils because the one time we did have essential oil, I had it in like the car thing, but it
Yeah.
like exploded. So it exploded like essential oil. We smelled it for days. so since that's never been a preference for me, I guess incense because like it smelled like lavender for months.
Oh my gosh, I
So
can imagine.
But
It's funny.
if I didn't have that lifestyle, like I don't know, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I have a certain lifestyle where I can only use one or the other.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That is a tough one. It's tough when you're on the road. I don't know what I would like. I know what I would pick just at home, but if we weren't home,
Yeah,
a
because
lot to
they
consider.
they make the car ones that lets the incense out, but the first one broke within 2 days and the second one exploded. So it's like, okay, no
It's not a
more
good
of
sign.
that. I can't do that on the road. So
Exploding incense everywhere.
yeah, exactly. Because like I'll use the essential oil to make things and little, fill it with crystal chips and then the essential
Mhm.
oils. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's why it's so hard.
Yeah. Such an unexpected adventure. You're just driving along
Yeah.
and your essential oils explode. All right. Last thing before I let you go. If
Okay.
somebody who's listening to this and maybe they're like, I think I dig all this magic stuff, but I'm not really sure. Do you have any words of wisdom or advice for them? Anything you would send them off with?
For magical advice that you should always just follow your intention and just do it because like I said, I've always been magical and I've always loved like the mythology and the Celtics and fairies, and it really just opens it up. You just feel happier. I don't, you know what I mean? Being able to do all these things and find answers, and it's just it's made me happier. I feel more fulfilled, I should say. So definitely follow that and go for it.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Well, Morgan, I don't have any other questions for you. So Morgan is around all our communities. She is a tarot coach extraordinaire and working on flexing those astrology skills. So you can come and say hi to her and get to know her. And I think that is it. Are you good? Anything else you wanted to throw in there?
No, I can't. Unless you want to hear more stories about where we find stuff. I got those for days.
Yeah, see, you got to come hang out in our classes so you can ask Morgan some stories for some more information.
Yes.
All right, then. Well, you can learn more about our programs at thesistersenchanted.com. You can get on the wait list for Holistic Witchery at holisticwitchery.com. And our tarot coach information is on the website and astrology. So thesistersenchanted.com. Go there and check it all out. Come say hi to Morgan. She's super awesome and supportive and shows up all the time. And better not leave our classes and stop coming, Morgan. I'll come find you. Morgan, not LaFay.
Yeah.
Come get you on the road, bring you back on my room.
We'll be somewhere awesome anyway.
Well, thank you, Morgan. And thank you to everybody listening in. And I will see you on the next episode of the Expedition to Soul podcast.